Let's rewind to the late 1970s and early 80s, when a new wave of energy hit the heavy metal scene. Born out of the UK's working-class youth, the new wave of British heavy metal, NWOBHM, wasn't just about music, it was a full-blown movement. These young rebels combined the raw power of classic rock with the speed and attitude of punk, creating a sound that was aggressive, fast, and technically mind-blowing. It was a fresh breath for heavy metal, setting the stage for the genre to go global. NWOBHM wasn't just a musical trend, it was a reaction. The late 70s punk explosion left its mark, and while punk was all about raw, unrefined energy, NWOBHM brought back the complexity of early metal, but cranked up the speed and aggression. The economic struggles of the time fueled this wave, with bands channeling the anger and frustration of a generation. These musicians embraced a DIY spirit, self-releasing records and spreading their music through underground fanzines and word of mouth. It was grassroots at its finest, and it changed the course of metal history. So, what did NWOBHM sound like? Imagine fast-paced rhythms, dual guitar harmonies, and powerful, almost operatic vocals. The lyrics? They often delved into epic themes of fantasy, war, and rebellion, perfect fuel for young metalheads' imaginations. And the look? Leather, denim, and a rebellious, no-nonsense aesthetic that became iconic in the metal community. This combo of high-energy music and striking visuals didn't just create a sound, it created a movement that would shape metal for decades to come. When you think of NWOBHM, Iron Maiden is probably the first band that comes to mind. Formed by bassist Steve Harris in 1975, Iron Maiden quickly set themselves apart with complex guitar work, dramatic compositions, and Bruce Dickinson's soaring vocals. Albums like The Number of the Beast and Power Slave didn't just break records. They became landmarks in metal history. And who could forget Eddie, the band's iconic mascot? With relentless touring and dynamic stage shows, Iron Maiden didn't just rise, they conquered, becoming one of the most enduring and influential bands in heavy metal. Def Leppard started off in the NWOBHM scene, but soon found their own lane with a more melodic, radio-friendly sound. Formed in 1977, they exploded into the mainstream with their 1983 album, Pyromania, featuring hits like Photograph and Rock of Ages. By blending hard rock with catchy pop hooks, they became one of the first metal bands to achieve massive crossover success. While they eventually evolved away from NWOBHM's raw edge, Def Leppard's early work helped bridge the gap between metal and the broader rock audience. Saxon was another major force in the NWOBHM movement, known for their powerful, riff-heavy songs and working-class appeal. Formed in 1977, they gained prominence with albums like Wheels of Steel and Strong Arm of the Law. Saxon's music celebrated the spirit of heavy metal, with lyrics that ranged from motorcycles to British pride. Their straightforward, no-frills approach struck a chord with fans, making them one of the most respected bands in the genre. Saxon's influence is still felt today, inspiring new generations of metal musicians. Motorhead might have formed before the NWOBHM era, but they played a crucial role in its development. Led by the legendary Lemmy Kilmister, Motörhead combined the raw energy of punk with the power of metal, creating a sound that was fast, loud, and in your face. Songs like Ace of Spades became anthems of rebellion, and Lemmy's no-nonsense attitude set the standard for many metal musicians to come. With relentless touring and high-octane performances, Motorhead became one of the most important bands in heavy metal, bridging the gap between punk's intensity and metal's heaviness. After being kicked out of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne was at a low point. He found a lifeline in guitarist Randy Rhoads, forming a new band and starting over. Randy's fresh, energetic style, different from Black Sabbath's heavy blues, reinvigorated Ozzy's music. They released 2 landmark albums, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. The guitar riff of Crazy Train from Blizzard of Oz became a favorite among young guitarists in the 1980s, earning widespread enthusiastic support. It helped transform Ozzy from a washed-up rocker to a heavy metal icon. Judas Priest, like Motorhead, may have existed before NWOBHM, but their influence on the movement and heavy metal as a whole was undeniable. Judas Priest formed in 1969, but their early years were tough. However, when 1980 rolled around, a new opportunity arose for the band, who had patiently weathered the challenges of the 1970s. With their twin guitar leads, Leather and Stud's image, and Rob Halford's powerful vocals, Judas Priest helped define the look and sound of metal. Albums like British Steel and Screaming for Vengeance produced classic metal anthems such as Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight. Judas Priest didn't just contribute to NWOBHM, they laid the groundwork for what heavy metal would become, influencing generations of bands that followed. The impact of NWOBHM can still be felt across the global metal scene. The movement influenced the development of various subgenres, including thrash, speed, and power metal. Iconic bands like Metallica, Slayer, and Megadeth have all cited NWOBHM bands as major influences on their sound. NWOBHM didn't just revive heavy metal, it redefined it, setting new standards for technical skill, imagery, and fan engagement. Even decades later, the energy and innovation of NWOBHM continue to inspire metal musicians worldwide, proving that the movement's impact is as enduring as its fiercest riffs. As the 1980s rolled on, NWOBHM started to fade as newer metal subgenres emerged and American bands began to dominate. But the spirit of the movement never really died. Many of the bands from this era are still going strong, and their music continues to resonate with metal fans around the world. NWOBHM isn't just remembered as a genre, it's remembered as a revolution that cemented the UK's place in the heavy metal hierarchy. Today, the raw power and influence of NWOBHM remain alive, inspiring new generations of headbangers and ensuring that the movement's legacy continues to rock on.